Right, topic for this week was, let me remember, chance and will. I don't quite know how it's going to be. Oh, hang on. Hello!
Hiya!
No, sorry, you're all right. We won't get
Living in our house.
all right here.
Oh, lovely, thank you.
Yes, chance and will. And I've got to. I thought we'll start off with, we'll start off with an exercise, but then I've got a little game that we're going to play.
Oh, goody.
Yeah, well, I hope so. I've sort of thought it through a bit, but quite how it will pan out, I don't know. But I'm sure it'll be a bit of fun. And then we'll take it from there and explore a few ideas that I had. We'll see. Okay, let's begin. Well, we'll begin with our sitting exercise. That's always important. So we'll start with a little look around. We'll just take in what we can see. And then when we've had a look around, we can close our eyes and we can bring our awareness to our bodies and what we can feel. So we can be aware that we have a head supported on top of a neck. Moving down below that we have shoulders, and perhaps at this point just be aware of any tension that you may be holding in the shoulders and the neck, and by bringing that to our awareness, just allowing that to release. And then be aware of the spine and gravity pulling down through the spine, down towards our bottom and through into the seat of the chair. Aware of our arms and our hands at rest. Legs, again stretching down to our feet in contact with the floor. Aware of the clothes against our skin. The movement of air on our hands, on our face. Then switch your awareness to smell. And taste in your mouth at this moment in time. And then finally switch your awareness to sound. And for the next few moments just listen. And if your mind wanders, that's okay, just bring the awareness back to listening. So to start with, we're going to play a little game. And just going to play a game of heads or tails. It's a fairly simple game of chance, 50-50. And we'll play a few rounds. And we'll see.
Is this like clapping?
Is it like the clapping?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know really. Possibly. Okay, now we'll start. Don't worry, I'm not going to be taking money from you.
Give Millie away, choice.
It's not pay to play. But we'll see how to play. So to start with, I will allow you to make your guess as to whether you think it's going to be heads or tails. And we'll take from there. So, Julie, what do you think? Heads? Tails? Heads? Heads? Tails?
Heads.
Tails. Okay, so a fairly even split. So remember what you went for. Toss the coin. It's heads.
Yay!
Okay, so we had a few winners and a few losers. Now there was nothing to be gained there by that.
Oh, we
That
don't
was
get to
just a
choose.
guess. No, you don't get to guess. But we'll make it a bit more interesting now. And I have a prize.
Oh no!
So for those of you that guessed correctly,
Jim, this is horrible. I'm on 3.5 weeks being chocolate free and my kids are watching. So
right.
if I win anything, I'll be donating it.
That's okay, I'm good with that.
That's all right.
We won't tell.
Okay.
No, I can't. I'm going to get a hotel.
Bless you.
Well, you can have imaginary chocolate.
Yeah, but can I just say, giant chocolate buttons are my absolute favourite.
Oh.
The big ones.
You mean these ones?
Yes, those
Giant
ones.
chocolate buttons.
Yeah, so that's why I said, oh no, when you talk about
So now
ultimate test.
there's more incentive to guess correctly, because if you guess correctly, you can have a chocolate button. Actually, what we'll do before I allow you to guess.
Do you do this with your
No.
kids? Do you?
No, but I'm going to start. Actually, what I'm going to do with the kids is what I'm going to do with you guys now. Is I'm not going to, for the first round, I'm not going to allow you to guess. I'm going to say heads, tails, heads, tails, heads, tails, heads. Okay? So you don't get a choice. That's what it is. I'm dictating.
That's your will.
Heads, tails, heads. Now I've got to hope it's tails, because if it's heads, I'm going to lose more chocolate. Right. Now, so, if you really want some chocolate, then you have to will this coin to land appropriately. Are you ready? Here we go. It's heads.
You're all right.
I know, it's all going wrong for me because you gave me tails, so I'm completely heads.
Oh, thank you very much.
Sorry, Liz, you can't have
I
one.
will have to eat it. We've got
Yeah, you know you can
eat
eat it. You can eat
mindfully.
it. Sorry,
It's all right. Look at that taste in your mouth.
There we go.
Don't
Okay.
worry, I can remember it well, it's only been 3 weeks.
Okay. Okay, so heads won, and that was 4 against 3. So maybe it was the quantity of people willing heads that made the difference. Okay, well this time I'll let you choose. What would you like to go for? Heads again. Heads, tails. Heads, tails, tails.
Heads.
Heads, tails, tails, heads. I've got to remember, because if I don't, you'll cheat. Heads, tails, tails, heads.
Tails.
Tails. Heads, tails, tails, heads. Tails.
Heads.
Heads. Heads. Heads, tails, tails, heads. Tails, heads, heads. Okay. You ready? It's tails. Tails. I should actually show you, shouldn't I? Okay.
Three so far from me.
Tails.
Yeah.
Tails.
This is going well for me then.
You're a heads. You really don't want any chocolate,
No,
do
I
you?
really, really don't.
No.
You really want it, but you can't.
Tails.
don't
Sorry,
want it.
you don't get
I'm going to buy some on the way out.
Then post your own YouTube.
I'm in charge, so I'm allowed to have one anyway. Okay. Right, we'll do one more round. And this time, everybody has the same. And you can all have tails. Yeah? So everybody's tails. So if it's heads, nobody gets some, except Nick. If it's tails, everybody can have some, except Liz. Right. Oh, I knew I'd drop one eventually. I was doing so well. Try again. Oh. His heads.
The one you dropped
You've
was
got
tails.
like 7 then.
Right.
Yeah.
Was I the only one willing that to be heads?
Well, I don't know. Maybe you were.
I was willing it for tails.
No, yeah, I was willing heads. I didn't want to try.
But I
Okay.
reckon if we were all willing it
Yeah.
the same thing, it's
I
more
would
likely
do
to
them
happen,
mindfully.
isn't it?
Oh,
Like,
very
if
much.
you're not willing it because you don't want to eat the chocolate and don't want to have the problem of the chocolate.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And if
I
you
fell
were-
out the side down there, didn't I?
Yeah, and if you were on tails too,
Well, should we do,
rather than
should we
being
do another
heads,
one? We'll
yeah.
do another one, and I'll dictate again.
yeah.
Okay.
Well,
And you can
now,
just watch the
okay,
heads
here's
and
your
kill it.
choice now. Do you want me to dictate what you will have, or do you want to come up with a group consensus as to whether you should all be heads or all be tails?
I believe it's quite random, so I don't.
I don't believe that.
No, I think you should choose.
You don't,
think I
you
should
said
do
don't
this?
believe
It's random, but over if you have enough
Yes, but
times, it will equal out roughly.
But I think if we're all willing it, I think it's more likely to happen.
Well, that's the question, really, isn't it? I suppose that's the question. Right, we'll do one more, and you can. What was it last time? I said you were all tails.
But you wanted it to be heads, didn't you?
My kids are at home willing it to be. Actually, no, they're not, because no, my daughter does know that I'm awesome, but she doesn't quite know why. Okay, so this time you are all heads. Was it heads last time? It's heads again then. We'll see if you're reasoning that it kind of evens out. Heads again, right, here we go. It's heads.
Yay! Hand over the chocolate.
So how many heads was
Poor
that
children.
then?
Yes,
Tails.
exactly. For them. Thank you.
Is that right?
No, they
heads
won't,
than tails?
because I'm going to eat them all on the way home.
oh yeah, oh hang on, I've got 2 now.
So over a period of time,
You're
do I
very
get
good.
2?
Actually, you can have mine, because I'm not long eaten, and I just really don't like
That's right.
More for the kids?
Yeah.
Okay. That's enough twine cossing. Twine cossing? Coin tossing. Spoonerism there. Was there any point to that?
You're going to tell
The reason I was thinking about that whole principle of whether we will things to happen or the idea of chance, I suppose I started off by thinking about how, from a mindful perspective, you're supposed to just accept, aren't you? Just accept whatever the present moment has to offer. So what does that mean in terms of desiring or wanting good things to happen, rewards to happen? And I suppose I was thinking about a couple of things. So there's I suppose the concept of positive thinking generally. If you're practicing mindfulness, should you think positively? Should you, or do you just accept whatever happens because you're not labelling things and there is no good or bad. So should you think positively? And then I was also thinking about sort of those other practices that people do, so things like the law of attraction, and if anybody's read The Secret, or read anything about cosmic ordering and that kind of thing. So if you whatever you put out there comes back. And again, what's the mindful take on that? Because again, if I suppose from a very purist sense of mindfulness, if you are just acceptant of whatever happens in the present moment, then you wouldn't necessarily want to be thinking about the future and thinking about attracting good stuff, because you're not labelling things, you're just acceptant of whatever is in the present moment. You're not, necessarily, you shouldn't care whether or not you got some chocolate or not. If you do, great. If you don't, great. Surely that's the premise of mindfulness. But I've thought about that a little bit more, and I would hope, and I'm sure that even those great exponents of mindful thinking, people like the Dalai Lama and Thich Nhat Hanh and all those people that I mentioned, would propose, would be accepting of people thinking positively. For example, if you were stuck in an abusive relationship, nobody would expect you to just accept that. Just accept that is your lot, and be of a mind that you shouldn't make any steps to change things or want to get out of that situation. Being mindful in that scenario, yes, in order to help you deal with the situation you were in. If you were being mindful, then you would accept what's happening in that present moment to enable you to cope, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't want it to change or make steps for that situation to change. And then I was also thinking about other things. If you were to be going for, if you had decided that you were going to maybe apply for a new job, if you're going to the job interview, you have to go into that thinking positively. You have to go into it thinking, I'm going to get this job, and set yourself up to succeed, and go into the interview process or whatever mindfully, so that you can give appropriate responses to the questions that are asked of you, mindfully and in the moment, so that you stand every chance that you might have of getting the job. So again, that's not really that is setting an expectation. That is thinking about the future and willing something, I suppose, to happen, thinking positively. Go on, no, please do.
When you go in, like if you take for example a job interview and you walk in, if you're not thinking positively, what are you giving off?
Exactly.
Yeah, so you have to be positive.
Exactly.
Even though you don't know what the outcome is going to be, you want the outcome to be, it would be unnatural to want something and feel negative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Sorry,
and
I'm just clarifying.
Well, that's the whole thing, I suppose. That's it. There's this kind of maybe it's a misconception, I suppose, about mindfulness. Is that if you're mindful, there is this misconception that it is all totally whatever happens. It does, I'm free and easy. It really doesn't matter, and what will be, which is all nice enough, but from a practical sense, on the one hand, you can't be like that. There are scenarios where you have to be positive and you have to, believe that a particular outcome is going to happen, and you have to and will that to happen, whether it's the toss of a coin to reward you with a giant chocolate button, or a promotion or a new job, or whatever changes in circumstances within your life.
Mindfulness shouldn't negate home or aspiration, should it?
No.
Surely.
No, that's it. No, it shouldn't. And then, no, you're right, because I was. In fact, I wasn't reminded of it before, but I've just been reminded of it now. And there was a book that I read by a Zen teacher called Joko Beck, who I believe she runs a Zen Buddhist center in San Francisco. And she was talking about bringing it, she wasn't referring to it as mindfulness, but bringing a mindful perspective to your life. And she was saying, you know, even if you are in business and your drive is to make money, you know, you want to make $1 million. She's American, so she doesn't make $1 million bucks. Make $1 million or £1 million or whatever. Then there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you do it mindfully and are aware of what you're doing. There is a lot of fun and enjoyment that can be had from that pursuit. Just because maybe you practice mindfulness doesn't mean that you can't be driven by those kind of, or have those kind of goals and seek to enjoy that process, if that's your own particular belief. So that's one side of it. And then I was also thinking about the other aspects of positivity and thinking positive. And if you think about some of the other less, I suppose, commercial, money-orientated side of things, you know, if you think about love and kindness and all of those positive human traits, which we crave to an extent. You know, we all want to be loved, we all want to have friends, and also them as positive aspects that we should generate ourselves and share with our fellow man. Then they're incredibly positive, and nobody would say that you shouldn't be loving and friendly and kind to others. So in that sense, yes, it's absolutely fine to be positive, think positive, generate positivity, go into situations with a positive mindset. Not necessarily preoccupied with the outcome, but with a mindset that you will project positivity with a view to not necessarily influencing other people, but perhaps sharing some of that. So that's that. And then I suppose we can go back to the other element of it, which is willing it to happen. So we were all, you know, when we were tossing the coin, we were joking about willing the outcome. If there's a number of you all willing a particular outcome, yeah, does it affect it? And you could argue, perhaps as you did think, that it's entirely random, and you know there's no, perhaps the only person that could have any impact through will at an unconscious level would be me. You know, I'm the one with the coin. If there's any kind of will, maybe it's only me, because I can unconsciously affect the amount of force that I apply to that coin in order to make it land in a particular way, so that I don't have to dish out quite so much chocolate. Or not, maybe maybe or maybe not your collective wills, or whether you were heads or tails or whatever, is projected onto me, and that has an impact upon how I
think that like an event like the Twin Cross, for example, there's only two outcomes, isn't there? Unless
Well,
you
exactly.
actually get on the side,
There is.
but you know, there's only two outcomes. But in life, like getting a job or not getting a job, you might say that's only two outcomes, but there's a lot of sort of part things in there. Like you might not get it, but you might have had a good interview.
Exactly.
And you come across positively, and they liked you, but you kind of didn't have exactly the skills that they were looking for. You had something missing.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's not the
You know.
outcome.
yeah.
Or maybe someone else was just, maybe you were great, but
Yeah.
that other person just picture the post with one little
Yeah.
thing.
I also vaguely remember seeing an experiment that Durham Brown did with some coins, and he wanted to get 10 in a row and was asking the same. I can't remember the detail. I just remember that they said that he did it, and then at the end of the show, they filmed him for 9 hours trying to get it. And that's how, you know, how many times he had to do that coin to get it to land. So he, you know, is there any influence there with the outcome? You know, I don't
There was a series that they did on that, wasn't there? Because there was
Yeah,
they did one with
there
did one
was.
with
And I think anyone can influence.
yeah, well
Maybe,
they did one with horse racing, and they had
Oh, yes, no,
they filmed a
absolutely.
guy and he won every race,
Mm.
and then at the end they revealed that actually at the start of it they had however many people,
1,000 people. Yeah.
loads of people,
Mm.
and then all the people that lost on the first race were out
Oh,
of
I
it.
saw that.
Yeah, and so the
All
winner
those
just
people that
came
lost
down.
on the second race were out of it. So by the time they got to the final race, there were perhaps two or three people left in it, and they filmed them, and there was only one of them that won.
But during the
the
process,
final race, so-
she wasn't it? She thought she was being really lucky, and she had the lucky
Yeah.
touch, and you know all this. So she believed she was
Yeah.
going to win as well.
She
you know.
did. She
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
it's
it-
random.
Well, that's it. But that's it, isn't it?
Runs of luck,
Yeah.
streaks of luck, and then you hit the wall, and you've got a gambling problem, don't you?
Well, there is that.
You've got a buck problem.
Yeah, you end up as a child. But I suppose from talking from a personal perspective, I've certainly found that you kind of, if you do focus on positive things, then more positive stuff happens. I mean, but then I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe you're just.
Maybe you see the positive spin.
That's
because
it.
You just
feel
notice it.
Yeah, you
I
notice.
think it's
You're-
more than that.
But I agree actually. I think the more
Yeah, I agree.
positive, the more
I think
you attract.
I think the other thing is most of what we do involves other people, and if you're positive and you put a positive front on, whether it's true or false, but if you put a positive aura on, if you like, other people's perception is good. They want to be part of what
Exactly.
you are and add to it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yes, I think you're right.
And you
Yes.
tend to attract more positive people
Yeah.
towards you who have a
Yeah.
similar way of thinking.
For
don't you?
example,
Yes.
as you know, I've recently been looking for work and I got a job, and I had four interviews. The first three interviews, there was a mismatch on something, but the fourth interview was a company and a job that I didn't really think it was me. But I went for it anyway. I went for it big time with the interview process as well. I had a telephone interview, the first interview. I put my suit on, my tie, my trousers, and I stood up on the phone. And I had a big smiley face on the wall as I'm doing it, and it worked. It got me through to the next interview. And I had the same, attack the next interview with the same sort of, positive attitude. And it just got better and better, and it snowballed.
Well, that's it. Yes, because it's interesting. Because I mean, in previous weeks we've talked about other aspects of it. We talked about everything happening for a reason. Does it happen for a reason, or does it not? And I suppose this hints on it. And we've also talked about, how as you just described with that telephone interview, your physical stance affects both your mood and how you project yourself, even not in person. You said you adopted the stance of somebody that really wanted that interview, was professional, put your suit on, you stood up, you know, you had your smiley face, you had the positive, and that obviously it does. You know, they say that if you can tell if you're talking to somebody on the phone, if they're smiling on the other end, you can hear it in their voice.
It was funny because at the end of the interview I said, I don't know if this is coming across on the phone, I said, but I'm really enthusiastic about this job. It's yeah, it's coming across.
Yay!
And I suppose it comes down to opportunities, doesn't it? Those people that are positive are generally seeking opportunities, on the opportunities to be positive, opportunities to be happy, opportunities to, you know, have fun. Yeah, exactly. Opportunities to have fun, opportunities to engage with people and make friends and all that kind of thing. And certainly I believe that opportunities come about more frequently if you're mindful, because you're more aware of when opportunities surface, because you are aware, you're not blinkered. So yeah, definitely there are more opportunities when you are mindful. And I think also, as several of you have said, when you project that, when you project positivity and other people pick up on that, I think they're more likely to offer opportunities because something resonates.
They want you around.
Yeah.
It's why would they want you around if you're not projecting something positive?
It
You're more
is.
connected.
Yeah, that's
with
right.
life.
Yeah, that's right. We do not necessarily shun the negative or negative people, but we are more drawn or
It can
conscious
be
to
quite
it.
tiring to be around negative people.
It is. It's
Just
emotionally
sat
wearing,
and
isn't it?
drain, and you get to a point where you can feel your ear infections coming on, listening to all their shit all the time. You just think, it's not necessary, is it?
Yeah.
Sorry to say that word.
That's all
Affecting
right.
my
It's
ears.
fine. There will be a multiplier when you strike them down and set foot.
But yeah, no, I think that we're all entitled to have a thing every now and again.
Yeah.
But I think when it's consistent, I don't think it helps that person either to be standing there and listening to it all the time.
I mean, if you bring to mind, I mean, we've all encountered negative people in our time. Those people that have now sprung to mind when I mention that, how mindful are they?
Not at all.
Generally, they're not, are they?
Yeah.
They're very blinkered.
Yeah.
They're very judgmental.
Yeah.
Well, it snowballs, isn't it, as well, I think, that way as well.
And they're very keen to label everything.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about trying not to label things as being good or bad, just accepting it. But if you're a negative person, you do label things.
Yeah.
And more often than not, you label things as being bad. And you label events as being
And things can't
negative.
change either because you've labelled it that way.
That's it, yeah. Negative people do tend to be very...
Yeah.
very set in their ways and very closed and unresponsive to change.
Yeah.
Do you think there's got to be... I'm thinking of somebody that springs to my mind who is a very positive person about everything. And she's actually the most annoying person I know. And it's because I don't believe there's actual reality
Right.
Okay, because
behind it.
So it doesn't have authenticity to it.
Yes.
Right.
And just literally, it doesn't matter what crap she's got going on in her life. She's like, right. And she will say the right positive words, if that makes sense. And I look at her and I think, bull. And I'm quite a positive person. I'm not saying that there's any, and I like being around positive people, but when it's to that extreme, where you can't go, actually, do you know what, it's a bit crap today.
Yeah.
I find that really difficult.
So
then she might not be in touch with how she really feels because it's quite easy to talk and not really
that's
feel,
it.
it's kind of
exactly, that's exactly what I was going to say. She's probably not that aware. She's not being that mindful. It's possibly it's like a learnt behaviour. You know, maybe she's read one too many books,
She's
And
very,
it's all-
she's very
It's a front,
religious, and I
it's-
won't go into that.
It can be a front, can't it? It can be a
Yeah,
front
I don't
to
wanna seem
mask
like
her
I'm
true
knocking it.
feelings and what's going on for her.
Exactly, and I think there's a lot of sort of saying the right
Yeah.
It can be
thing
a
because of the
defence
environment
mechanism.
she spends her life in. Yeah, exactly. Whereas, and honestly, I would genuinely rather be around someone who's doom and gloom than be around her. Because doom and gloom can bring a bit of a laugh.
At least
back.
it's real.
Well, yeah, because often there are but that's it. There are also those people who are a bit doom and gloom, but can be quite aware,
Yes.
quite self-effacing, and quite
Like some comedians. They
yeah.
can be quite funny, can't they?
Well, I suppose well, they
They're
are.
doom and gloom.
It should be.
I've talked before about.
Is that your part-time job?
I've talked before about in entertainment how it's people's responses to stress which are entertaining.
Yeah.
You know, your characters like your Basil Fawltys and your Homer Simpsons, who are great comic characters, and they're funny because of the way they respond to stress, the way they get worked up. But then also there are comedians, you know, straight away Jack Dee comes to mind.
Yeah, I was thinking of that.
who is, you know, the archetypal grumpy old man. But in his day, just was side-splittingly funny. And it's because of his awareness. You know, what he said resonated because it was genuine.
That's my point. I think I don't have so much problem with negativity.
No.
I'd rather be around a genuine
Real,
person.
Yeah, that's almost in touch with it, and aware of it.
And if they've got genuine reasons for things to be talking about negative, mind you, even then you could say if a genuine person who's very mindful will talk about negative things, but not necessarily be negative about them. But and maybe the same with a very mindful person will talk about positive things, but not necessarily just skipping around the room.
Well,
about
that's it. There's a difference, isn't there, between somebody that's aware and is a bit doom and gloom, and somebody who's depressed.
Yeah.
It's like when somebody's really positive and you're not being so good, not on top of your game, and they say something positive, you go, don't want to hear it, do you?
No.
I had a nice story, but just going back to thinking about like being aware of positive people and being genuinely positive people.
Yeah. This is what I don't just So it's the lack of chocolate's turning into a fried rocket there.
Do you want me to hide that? You keep looking.
Sniff it.
No.
Lead me not into temptation. I can find my own way.
You're in church.
Do you want a half?
No.
Oh, it's like a dealer, isn't it? Just have a try. Come on, just try.
Peer pressure.
Hold it in the teeth.
Hold it in your teeth.
Smell that.
I don't want you to relapse. I'm sorry. I shouldn't. You were sorry, Julie.
No,
You were saying.
it's fine. I was just saying, I heard about this like walk of intention,
Right.
where you go out the door and you just wherever you don't even have to have somewhere to go, but you just have a walk, and the walk of intention you have that something good's going to happen. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter, you know. It could be someone just smiling at you as you walk back. As if you're feeling a bit down. And it's attracting the positive in your life. And I thought it was I've never tried it, but I'm going to. I'm just got around to it. But you know, I just think it's a really lovely way to make you aware.
Yeah.
Because we walk down the street sometimes, especially when we're really busy, and we don't. Sometimes I don't see the pavement. You know,
No. Well, that's it. That's why I say if you walk
It's
into
not very
a shop,
mindful,
just be aware. And you're right. If you go out with the intention of aiming to be aware of something positive,
something nice, something
you
good.
will opportunity will come, and you will be aware of it, rather than head down looking at the pavement.
That sounds like I haven't been mindful at all about all these people. I have.
Oh, I know.
But I thought if I'm ever feeling that I haven't felt low for a while, so if I get a low one, I'm going to use that as a way to wake myself up.
Where did that saying come from? Look and ye shall find.
Well, that's it. Yeah, seek and ye shall find.
Yeah. Look, seek, yeah, that's it.
It's a hymn, isn't it?
Yeah.
Seek ye first the kingdom of God. There is a hymn, and we sang it at school a lot. Yes.
You've just been in that place where you, from what you're saying about the walk of intentions, and what I hear when you say that is it's somebody who is just looking for the positive. So is the positive always there, but someone who's negative and just isn't
just
giving
not
themselves
aware,
the
not
opportunity
mindful,
to see it, you know, rather than you actually being able to will something to happen.
Or it may not even be that something positive, I'll do the old speech marks, happens, but that your perception of the events, you know, you perceive them, you perceive them as being positive. You know, it's that you walk down the street, you hear a bird singing. Now that in itself, it's just a bird singing. But if you've gone out to think, right, I'm going to, this is my walk of intent. Was it?
Yeah, walk of intention, I think.
Walk of intent, something like that. You know, and you hear that, and you're aware of that.
Sounds a bit Harry Potter.
Yeah, but you might, but you take that, wouldn't you? And you go, that's beautiful sound, or that's great, and I'll take that. I'll just take that one simple thing, and be joyful in that, you know, wonder of nature that is a blackbird doing
That's
its
a good
thing.
point though. Like, is it something that's always there and you're just not... Can you actually will things? It's like that. Can you will things? Don't know. Are they always there? It's just... You've got to be aware of them.
Yeah, and that's what I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it's that it's always there. There is so much.
Yeah.
You know, the present moment contains all life, all energy, all matter, everything that is, whether it's matter, energy, life, whatever, everything that is in this moment. Everything exists in this present moment. And so you can take from that what you want. It's all there. And if you go out there wanting to take something positive from it, then you will. If you go out there just wanting No, go on.
You go out there on your walk, it doesn't mean it's in walk of intent. And you stand in the dog turd, right? And your whole day's messed up, you know what I mean?
Really? That's your whole day.
That's what maybe not a whole day, but it'd be a bit,
See, that, if I'd gone out there with intent of being really, really
That would be really fun.
I would find that really fun.
Exactly. So there you go. There you go. And if you're mindful and there's no good or bad, then it just is.
Yes.
You accept.
if you're mindful, you won't step in it anyway.
Oh, exactly. You're quite right, Jess. That's the point. That's the point, Nick. Thank you, Jess. You should sit here.
Not at all, because
That's right.
I'm not very mindful.
If you're mindful, you wouldn't.
I'm out of mindful at the moment. But I mean, I should try and remember that, the walk of intention.
Yeah.
And I think we're just so, for myself, I'm so shut off from everything's going on, all the nice things, because I've got to get somewhere, or be somewhere, or drive somewhere, or get home and get some dinner, and then get over here, because I want to come over here, sort of thing. That you block you're blinkered, as you say. You shut off from all that sort of stuff.
But that's what happens with people becoming preoccupied with always thinking and doing. We're always having to do stuff, we're always having to think about stuff. That you are then shut off from opportunity and shut off from being aware, from just being alive. And the opportunity that being alive can present, which is the essence of mindfulness after all, isn't it? Just stopping to be alive and enjoy the opportunity of being alive.
And who says you can't? I'm a good philosopher. Who says you can't stop for an hour?
Well, exactly.
And just
My
and
boss.
Or a minute.
But, you don't but sometimes you can be rushing to get somewhere, and I think, no, I'm going to stop for a second, and I will just stop 5-10 seconds, and I'll look at the sky and the beautiful clouds, and I think, wow, that's really fabulous.
Yeah.
I think, right, got to get on now. But I've stopped and I've enjoyed it and I've appreciated it, and then I move on. And it doesn't have to be a big chunk out of your day, just 10 seconds.
That's it.
enough.
Well,
And not
that's
long,
exactly
is it?
right. You know, you don't have to sit for an hour meditating. You can just take 2 or 3 mindful breaths to look at the sky or listen to a bird song or avoid treading in something on the pavement. To be mindful and to just stop and be. It's a perfect example.
It's to remember to do it though. It's as if you want
Yeah,
on your phone
that's the key.
every hour an alarm to go off and go.
Well, that's why they you know, you can get those mindfulness apps on your phone and it will bong to remind. Apparently,
You can. Wow.
It'll notify you on your phone to say be mindful.
It's
Against the point.
Yeah, exactly.
Something's got to tell you to do it.
I mean,
Headspace, that's what it's called.
Yeah, I mean, I
couldn't
suppose
believe
it
it when
was
I heard about
created with the best of intentions, but at the same time, you know, if I was being mindful, I wouldn't, or if I was attempting to cultivate my mindful practice, I'd feel a bit of a fraud if my mobile phone was
Reminding
telling me.
Yeah, but it's like anything, isn't it? If you want to lift 100 kilos, you can't do it straight away, can you?
No.
But if you
But that's
work up to
it.
it, do it regularly,
if it helps
build
you,
up that momentum to do
But
it
then
regularly.
if you just even do it once a day, eventually
Yeah,
you'll remember
that's
to do
it.
more and more.
if it gets you into the
Synapses firing.
process. Yeah. Well, that's why, you know, if you go to somewhere like Plum Village, which is Thich Nhat Hanh's Buddhist retreat, his Buddhist centre in France, they have a great big bell that they bong throughout the day, and when the bell sounds, everybody just stops and focuses on their breath. And then once they've done that, they go back to whatever it is that they have been doing. So they have that. It's not a phone. It's a little man in an orange robe going boom. And you know, but we don't have that in our lives. We don't have a little man following us around.
Well, I don't know about
Expectations.
Do tell.
next week's prize is.
The loan of Zaza's little man for a day, following you around. Right. Let's breathe, and we'll invite the bowl to sound as we've been talking about bonging.
Chocolate, didn't you?
Actually, I was actually. Subconscious, I didn't notice you said that.
And a whiff then.
I just tell myself I don't eat it anymore.
Jim needs the energy.
I think that's smoker too.
Oh, yeah.
It's heavy.
Not you're an ex-smoker, just don't smoke.
Okay. So you may close your eyes if you wish. But now bring your awareness to your breath. Be aware of breathing in, breathing out, and then the pause between breaths. And for the next few moments, just maintain your awareness of those 3 elements: breathing in, breathing out, and the pause. If your mind wanders, acknowledge it's wandered and bring the awareness back purely on the breath. As you breathe in, feel alive. As you breathe out, just smile at life. Feel positive about life. And then allow that smile and that positivity to just dissolve into the pause and the peace that exists between breaths. And when you are ready, you may open your eyes. Thank you, everybody, for your contributions this evening. It was very
Quite a laugh.
lovely.
Really
enjoyed it. Thank you.
Much laughter in church, do you?
So yeah, if you be positive and make your intention to take some mindful breaths first thing in the morning.